Like I said, absentee owner, another great opportunity. You can find listings from older expireds, 2 to 18 months is what we're seeing as a sweet spot. Why? Because in a lot of markets, the brand new expireds are just saturated. And we're talking about a really interesting topic today. We're going to talk about what are the top things that are working for best lead sources for ISAs right now. It's a question that we get all the time. Like all the time, people are asking us, hey, what's the best lead source? What's working for you guys? What's working great? And, I've got a few examples that I want to share today. We've got the one and only Chris Pulido here with us, sales manager here at PowerISA. He runs the sales team, one of our top salespeople as well. So he's here in the house, going to share some of his experiences and also what he's seeing out in the wild with our clients. Because trust me, if everything's going great, Chris is going to hear about it. If things are not going great with the lead source of the campaign, he's going to hear about it too. So, a great communication with our clients throughout the whole process. So I think it's going to be useful for you guys. I'm going to kick it off, Chris. I'm going to kick it off. And I want to share, if you guys have paid attention in our site, our Facebook group, we just shared this case study. This is hot off the presses. This is Manar Siva out of Detroit, Michigan, just absolutely killing it with his ISA, doing outbound cold calling, okay? And the lead sources that he started off with Circle Prospect. That's generating 2 to 3 qualified sellers every single day. Circle Prospecting, number one, okay? And then he moved this ISA up into expired and for sale by owner. ISA is making those calls, but a really big caveat I want to throw out there, right? Because I see a lot of people, they feel that they've never done expired and FSBO, and they want their ISA to go in there and do the calls for them, and they just want to go and sign the listing, show up to the home, basically, for the listing appointment. And folks, that's just not how it works. That's not how it works. Manar is having a great result. I think he got something like 4 listing opportunities in the first 30 days from his ISA making calls to expired FSBO Circle Prospect. But the ISA's job was just to qualify that seller. Are they willing to listen to what Manar has to offer? He wasn't setting appointments. They weren't setting appointments. He was qualifying the seller and handing it off to Manar. Verified seller, verified contact information, and there's some motivation to sell, some curiosity about selling. And Manar's like, bring them, bring it. Anyone that's willing to talk to me, I'll talk to. But Manar, what he didn't like to do was cold call, okay? I have yet to find an agent that really loves cold calling, but Manar likes to talk to people that might be thinking of selling their home. He's really good at that. That he can do. 2 to 3 calls a day he can do. It's the 300 calls a day that it takes that he was struggling with, right? So I think that's one great example. We are in, October, November timeframe. Yeah. That's when this happened. Some people are listing now. Some people are listing at the beginning of the year, right? You got to find people that are urgently want to sell and those that are willing to wait a little bit. When Manar was on my coaching call last Thursday, this happened this last Thursday, a few days ago, he told me, hey, I was just at a listing appointment, 5.5 million, also brought to him by his ISA, a canceled listing. It got canceled earlier in the year, months ago. And he says he's probably going to get that one too. It was a 2-hour listing appointment. He was there for 2 hours. New construction, they're finishing up in about 90 days, going to go live in about 90 days. 5.5 million, which is triple the normal price in that area. So just a really unique property, huge, going to be probably one of his biggest deals ever, brought to him by his ISA. So folks, when I'm talking about, does cold calling work with an ISA? It absolutely can, but you got to do it the right way. We've had clients come in and say, hey, I just want to sit down and I want to get those appointments. Just give me a bunch of appointments and I'll handle them. They go, no, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. You're doing it wrong, right? Especially from something like Circle Prospecting. You're not going to get a lot of appointments from Circle Prospecting. It just doesn't work that way. Yeah, 100%, right? You've got to give it some time and you got to get qualified sellers, confirmed homeowner, motivation to sell, confirmed contact information, and hand them off to an agent where you can have a great conversation for that. So, Chris, that's my first contribution. Circle Prospect, expired FSBO, but done the right way. Your ISA, their highest value, is to make those calls and find the most motivated leads for you then to connect and talk to. Highest and best use of an ISA, period.
Me personally, right now, what I'm seeing, it's crazy because a lot of people don't know this, but I have the sales team that I have, some of those folks actually work part-time with agents that they've been with for quite some time. And because of this, it's
You
just
got
like you said.
inside track. You've got the
I do.
inside track on people that are getting appointments and listings today,
Yes.
right? I love it.
And a lot of people would think, oh, well, some of those folks are experienced. Chris is training them. I mean, it's basically the same thing. It's like it's not that I'm training them. It's just like, hey, I basically just tell them, look, you're doing sales. Sales is sales. Doesn't matter. Just the script changes. That's all that changes, and they adapt easily. So one of the folks that I have, one of the colleagues that I have here in the sales team, actually is killing it right now with his agent, and he's doing it full time. He's working with us just part time right now, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. But even with that, I mean, the guy's already picking up traction. So just so everybody gets an idea, this guy's literally doing 12 hours a day. Now, reason he does this,
Boom, boom, boom. He's a
he
beast.
knows. He knows it's all about the numbers. Like he knows he needs to hit a certain amount he needs to talk to. I like what he said last time. He has to talk to at least 5 to 7 people per day. Like 5 to 7 people, solid people per day. So that way it adds up, right? Let's say he's like talking to five on average. So that's 25 a week, right? That's 100 a month. And out of those, just do a little, cut on that, like 10%. That means the guy is literally going to be talking to 10 potential transaction ready clients. When are they going to sell? See, that's the thing though. It's crazy. There are some agents that I love that what you said, Gus. There's some agents that, hey, I don't care if they're looking to sell in next year. As long as they're looking to sell, I want to talk to them.
100%. That's the opportunity because newsflash, people, newsflash. And the people that have done calling, you know this. You don't know what their time frame is. They're not going to
Yeah.
tell you. They're
No,
not going to tell you on the first
no.
call. They're
Heck
going to
no.
tell you get off the phone. No, no, I'm not thinking of selling. I mean, that's the automatic no. That's a
I'm not
reflexive no.
interested.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Have you thought about maybe relocating, getting something more comfortable? And then when they think about it for a second, they don't answer right away. Like, well, no, I don't think so. Well, how about then you gotta put your foot in the door. These people are not going to open the door wide open. Come on in and list my property. That's not how cold calling works, man. It
We
is
were that easy.
start a conversation, put your foot in the door, and then disconnect. Is what this, I love the way Brandon Mulrenin says this. Disconnect from the outcome. You have no control over what they're going to say. You have no control. You can put your foot in that door though. Put your foot in the door, right? Ask the next question, keep the dialogue going, and see what they say. Just wait. Give it a sec. Ask the next question. Ask the next question. Let them decide if they're going to answer the question or not. That in a nutshell is your job as an ISA. That's what you have to do. Got to put your foot in the front of enough doors. And I love that number that you mentioned, 5 to 7 people. That's not 5 to 7 contacts in a day. 5 to 7 of the best ones, like good,
Yeah.
solid conversations, back and forth, good conversations. They're going to talk to way more people than that. But
Yeah.
to talk to 5 to 7 solid leads every single day, you got to make 200 calls, 300 calls, right?
Easily.
More than 300 calls. And you've got to find them, but they're out there, right? They're out there. It always, I'm always kind of challenged with people when they say, oh, cold calling is dead, right? Oh, that doesn't work anymore. I can't get anybody on the phone. So one thing that has changed, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this for a very long time. It has definitely changed. The technology has changed. Now you got to put more effort into it.
Oh
Before
yeah.
you would just buy Mojo, turn it on, boom, you talk to 50, 100 people a day. We could talk to 100 people in a day, 100 contacts in a day easily. Boom. Now, if you're not careful, if you're not looking at your numbers, if you're not using all the technology out there, you're going to talk to 0 people in a day if you're not careful. You're not talk to anybody, right? You get tagged to spam, stir shaken, spam likely. All these things, they're designed to kick out the people that are just not careful. They're not doing things the right way. They're lazy. I'll be honest with you, but laziness, right? If you're not careful with that, intentional, there's no way you're going to see numbers like that
No.
easily, easily, easily,
That
easily.
spam hurts.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that if you do it the right way, you can still get great, great, great results from cold calling. But I agree, it's not as easy as it was 8 years ago when we started the company. It's not as easy. It's not easy for sure, 100%. But it is still 100% doable. So that's one. So what other lead sources? So what's he been calling, and what kind of results has he gotten? So let's get to the lead sources point.
No joke. Out here, we're not here to bash on any lead sources or anything. It's just like back when I was in ISA, Z buyers, it was all right. Now it's like Z buyer sellers are even better than all right, so it's like, holy cow, like,
Yeah,
all
and we're
right,
not, we're not here to promote anybody. It's not a
nope,
commercial or anything. I don't even have. I probably should get one. I don't have an affiliate agreement with ZBuyer or anything like that. We're telling it like it is. You have
yeah,
an ISA on your team that calls for another real estate agent, and they've been having success with ZBuyer seller. Period. There's no qualifier there. These are
no.
facts. These are facts, right?
But the follow-up is crazy. The guy had to
Ah,
do 15 touches. Again, 15 touches, call, text, email. I can't like disclose the order. I do know the order, but I don't want to disclose the order.
all right.
But on that note, it was 15 touches, call, text, and email. He got in contact with them month one. Month two passed. He was still following up with them. He made three contacts in that second month. Coming into the third month, he made one contact, set up the appointment, agent went out, they got the listing. So it took him 3 months to get that one listing. But he's been
From Z
talking
buyer,
to a
Z
lot.
buyer
Yeah,
seller, Z buyer seller.
Z
That's the
buyer
first
seller.
one. That's the first one. There'll be
That's the
more.
first one.
There'll be more.
Crazy part is he's hitting up his sphere, and he got one off his sphere. Like
Oh, the
literally,
agent's
yeah,
personal data. That
yes.
is so smart. That is so that
But it
agent,
wasn't
right?
the agent, man. It was this guy. He
Oh
told
no,
him,
no,
hey,
but most agents never have their ISA call their sphere. They're like, no, no,
I
no.
don't know
But
why.
but but here's the thing. If you're calling your sphere, then you're fine. But if you're not calling your sphere, that's the dumbest thing you can do. Like,
Wake up
like
call.
it's always better if you do it. That'd be great. But if you're not gonna do it, right? Have
ISA.
your ISA jump in there, and make a call. There's nothing you can lose from making that. Nothing bad is gonna happen, right? If you're not absolutely doing it, make sure it gets done. Make sure it gets done. That's a smart guy. I love that because guess what? He wasn't making those calls. That's what he's
Nope.
saying. Was not making those calls.
The
Guys,
price.
database
Yeah.
and Sphere is the best converting lead source ever.
Agreed.
The only thing is it's limited. There's not that. It's not going to be millions, thousands. It's not going to be thousands of people.
Man,
I
I
know
hear
one guy.
agents have huge like
We've
databases.
had one client, not gonna lie, Rodolfo out of Seattle, like a good friend of the company, client. Multiple times we've worked with him, many different
Yeah.
projects. I think he had a personal Met database of more than 10,000 people. Personal
Yeah.
Met, personal
That's
Met,
like around there.
10,000. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. Like a Met database, people that knew him, people that and he hired ISAs. One time he hired an ISA for like a year and a half or more just to call that list. 10,000 people. Call them and follow up with them and call them and follow up with them. I think it was 55 listing appointments in the first 60 days because he had never 10,000 people. I wouldn't make that. I mean, it's hard, man. 10,000,
Yeah.
you're just not going to make the call. You're just not going to make the call. And so he was smart and hired someone to help him, right? So I love that. So called his database, got another listing out there. I love that.
It's crazy the price ranges too. I don't want to mention the area, but the price ranges are ranging. One of them was for 675, if I'm not mistaken, and the other one is like around the 800 range. So it's like,
Double the median price in the US,
yeah.
double the
And I'm
average price.
telling folks, like, look, the reason we're going on here and saying this is because, like, I'm getting the same thing that you're saying, Gus. Like, when I'm on the phone with these agents, they're like, "Oh, it's tough out." Yeah, it's tough out there. Nobody's saying it's not.
100%.
Nobody's saying it's not.
100%. I liked it better in 2021, Chris, when
Oh
it
yeah,
was like raining. It was, deals and transactions were everywhere. Money, money, money. I mean, between now and 2021, I like 2021.
oh yeah.
But guess what? We got to live in the market of today, right? You got to find deals out there today. And Chris, we see deals happening every single day. The difference is, though, I don't know. I want you to get your thoughts on this. It takes more calls.
Yeah.
It takes more leads. It takes
Oh
more
yeah.
appointments than before. That's it. Only the most motivated buyers and sellers are going to pull the trigger right now. The most motivated ones are making that move. But I'm telling you, the deals are out there, but you've got to be willing to put in that work. And an ISA is a great way to short circuit that, make it happen faster, but they got to be plugged into a system that works, right? That's just the key. That is the most important thing. But it takes more calls, more leads, more appointments to get the same results that you were getting
Literally.
before, right? You're not going to break
And
any records, folks. Yeah, you're going to work twice as hard, and you're not going to break any records. Sorry to tell you this, right? But you won't go out of business either. How about that?
no,
Is that incentive enough, right? Like
man,
make
an
it
agent
through the
told me
shit.
that. The agent
What did it
was
say?
like, "Bro," he said, I don't care if I have to invest every single dime nickel that I have. These are the type of opportunities that you need to just take. When there's companies falling to the ground for whatever reason, there's opportunities for so many of us. And if you're not taking them, I'm sorry, but I'm taking them.
I'm
And he literally said, like, yeah, he's literally told me, look, I'm looking to invest. And actually it's crazy. Another agent that just signed up, I'm just gonna say his first name, but his first name is Christian. He is a returning client for Power ISA. The
love
guy
it.
literally told me the same thing. He said, Chris, I'm here to spend money because I know if I spend money, I'm gonna make money. You guys, actually, the crazy part is he was with us for quite some time. He dropped out, said he was gonna do it on his own, but do it in-house. Then he's like, Chris, man, you guys were getting me appointments. I was closing. I got it in-house. It's not the same. Well, of course it's not the same, bro. The motivation isn't there. Like, are you
Oh man.
kidding me?
No, have you tried hiring people in the US right now?
He
Like
tried.
in
He
this job market,
tried. He
it's
tried.
hard to find people, it's hard to retain people. It's a challenge. It's difficult, right? So yeah, absolutely people want a better solution. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so what are you thinking? He's like, you know what? I want an ISA. I'm gonna put in because right now he has a huge database. On top of the huge database, he has a huge team. He's like, Chris, I know right now, like they're like, we're closing. That's the crazy. That's what I'm like. Other agents are like, I'm not closing. What are you doing to recession-proof your business? Are you cold calling? Are you door knocking? Are you like, if you don't want to do none of these things, you need an ISA. There's no and if or but about it. And if you can't live with that, then honestly, you're not gonna be able to scale.
It's
You're
going to
not
be a
one
tough
man
winter.
team.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
tough winter if you're not doing something differently. What you were doing in 2021, I guarantee you, it's either not working anymore or it's not working the same way it was before. Let's be honest about that, right? If you don't adapt to this changing market, improve your offer, call more people, try a different area, try a different list, try a different approach, right? If you never try, if you were scared of Facebook leads, try Facebook leads, right? Because Chris, the reality here is that I can give you examples of clients closing deals with circle prospecting. Yes, circle prospecting with expired, with for sale by owner from their own database. You had one right there from your own personal database, from Z buyer leads, right? I can give examples of all of those that are working right now. The thing is, these agents, they didn't stay static and hoping the same thing they were doing was going to keep working. I had one client of ours be very candid with me and said, Gus, there were so many deals to be had. People were coming to me, personal database, internet leads. We're calling them. They just have to pick up the phone and have a good and just be nice and do what they've always done. They just have to pick up the phone to get deals. If they said if they would have
Not
stayed that
anymore.
way, their deals would have gone down 80% this year if they would have just done that. You can't do that. That's why a lot of agents are having the worst year ever in real estate because they're trying to keep doing what they were doing before. And only when they're like on the edge, like, okay, now I gotta try something different, right? Like, absolutely, I've got to try something different. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, you're not going to see the result that you want. So we're talking about this, and there's certain lead sources that lend themselves better to an ISA, right?
Yeah.
Rekindling that database, man. Like this agent, right? Brilliant guy, was not calling his database, hired an ISA to call his database, already got a listing out of it. Okay, make the call, right? Make the call. And for the people that are watching and they don't have an ISA, well, then you are the ISA. This still applies to you. Pick up the
Yeah.
phone and make it happen. Waiting for your database to call you worked 2 years ago. Not going to lie. That was all I had to do. Be a lead receiver.
That's
I'm
it.
great at lead reception. I love lead reception. You got to be doing lead generation. Okay. You got to be doing lead generation. That's one of the good things. And what you said about Christian and all the other guys, I mean, 100%. The people that learn how to lead generate are going to get through this no problem. They're going to survive the shift. They're going to be no issues, right? And once things settle down, they're going to grab market share like there's no tomorrow. They're going to grab market share. They're going to grow in a market shift, okay? Massive growth because they're going to weather the storm. And once they get their footing, they're going to grow like crazy, right? That's the opportunity in a shifting market, right? That's the thing. That's why agents are coming in. They're hiring ISAs that were working for another agent. That agent's no longer in the business, right? They're
Yeah.
getting an ISA, a trained, experienced ISA. Every week, I'm sending lists of experienced ISAs that are available to start working ASAP. If you don't know what that is, drop your email. I'll add you to my newsletter. We're sending it every week because we get a handful of people that are, holy cow, why is this person looking for a job? It's crazy because their previous employer went out of business, right? And I've seen this exploded in October,
Facts.
right? It's exploded in October. I think like a third of the clients we got in October were teams hiring their second, third,
Third.
fourth ISA.
Mm.
Okay.
Yep.
Second, third, fourth. A third of the ISAs we placed last month were joining a team and that's growing in this situation, right? It's growing in this market. Why? Because they found an opportunity and they're doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, right? It's crazy. But that is a reality that we're in. That is happening at the same time that we're seeing people have the worst year in real estate ever, right? Both things are true. Both things are true. I happen to feel that a lot of it is in your control. A lot of it is in your control. I prefer to believe that, right? Because you can't control the interest rate. You can't control the recession. You can't control whatever it is, right? You name it, the war, which war, this war, that war, either of them, right? It doesn't matter. You still don't control them. You have zero control over that. What you control is your ability to generate leads. I'm going to make it even simpler for people. It is having as many real estate focused conversations on a daily basis as you can. Having as many real estate focused conversations. That's the goal. That's the game, right? That is it. It's no different. And you can do that with outbound prospecting, circle, expired for sale by owner. Oh, absentee. Let's not forget absentee owners. Because that is another one that if you've never tried that, give those folks a call because number one, they might be regretting they didn't sell at the peak, right? They might be hating their tenants right now. I'll be honest here. I'm going to be vulnerable here. I had a tenant that didn't pay their rent last month, by the way. Okay. Not a great situation to be in, not fun. That's not fun as a landlord, right? So some people are struggling out there, right? Landlords might be rethinking their whole proposition of being a landlord, right? Make the call and see what they say. Ask the question, disconnect from the outcome and see what they say. You might be willing to sell. Another one, Ricky Caruth shared this. I've been sharing this for years. Ricky just said this to his whole audience last month. Expireds 2 to 18 months old. Expireds 2 to 18 months old because they might be more reasonable now than they were a few months ago. Okay. If the motivation is strong enough, they're looking for someone to help them get their property sold. If the motivation is strong enough, reach out to them and let them know, look in your CRM. How many buyers have you got for that area? Grab it. If it's 5, 10, 15, 20, show them there's 20 people I want to show your property to, right? Let's get you moving. Let's make it happen. But this, but that, where do you want to go? If you could sell this property, where would you go? I want to do this. Kind of move on with your life. Let's go. I'm here to help you make that move. Are you ready? Well, sure. Okay, let's go, right? It is go time. Let's make it happen. But some people need you to reach out to make it happen, right? Get off the fence. Get off the fence. Interest rates even went down this week. Come on, make it happen, right? So I think a lot of signs are pointing to make the call, ask the question, disconnect from the outcome, do your job. Your job is to ask that question as many times. Your ISA's job is to ask those questions as many times as needed to get those 5, 6, 7 people that are the qualified leads, the better quality leads that they can generate for you. That's the system. That's the model, right?
Man, I could tell you right now, there's agents that are missing out on a ton of that because a lot of the agents that I'm talking to just listen and just sold. Just listen. Oh my God, there's so much low-hanging fruit. They know that you're in their neighborhood, that you're local. People love that. And it's like you said, man, it's like literally the definition of insanity is what you just said. Expecting the same result, doing the same thing, and you're expecting the same results, you're going to get good results. You're not. You're not going to get good results. You need to start doing more. Like you need to start talking to more people. Like that's what like agents. It's crazy. They're like, well, I'm not good on the phone. I'm not good for cold calling. Well, okay, you can leverage an ISA, but at the same time, you got to be making sure that you have enough manpower in place to keep up with what the ISA is going to send over your way. Because
100%.
ISAs are focused on the bonus. They're not
And if
focused
you
on the
need
hourly.
training, get the training. Like if you need help with that, that's what we have coaches. I help coach our agents. We have Coach John D. Smith, prospecting master, okay? Master level prospector, only been doing it for 20 years in 2 different markets, right? Detroit, Michigan, and Charlotte, North Carolina. He helps coach our clients, right? And sometimes we even live stream it here in the group. We live stream those sessions so people can benefit. But the only people that can attend those sessions, like in the call, in the Zoom call, are our clients, right? So if you need education, get education, okay? Get the training, get the coaching. What is not going to be helpful is knowing that there's other things out there like prospecting, like Circle, like Absentee, like Old Expireds, and just lamenting, oh man, I wish I could do that. What? We'll figure it out, right?
That's what I'm
If
saying.
that's an opportunity, figure it out. How do you know that can work for you if you're not even trying that? Okay. The only thing I can tell you, sitting still in a shifting market is a recipe for disaster. Sitting still and hoping for the best is not a strategy. That is a faith-based process, man. I mean, power to you,
Agreed.
but you got to take action and you got to try something different if you want a different result. If things are working, keep doing that. If things aren't working, you got to try something a little bit different. You absolutely need to do that 100%. Otherwise, you're going to get backtracked. So, yeah, like I said, absentee owner, another great opportunity. You can find listings from older expireds, 2 to 18 months is what we're seeing as a
Yeah.
sweet spot. Why? Because in a lot of markets, the brand new expireds are just saturated. There's 8 dozen agents trying to reach out to them, right? You can get up to 50 calls an hour in the first few hours, in the first day that listing expires. Why? Because this is crazy to say. In most of the country, we still have an inventory problem, right? In most of the country, it's
Yeah.
still true. It's crazy. It is. We have less deals and we have less listings than in a very long time. So agents want to get those deals. It might be unbelievably saturated to get those new expires. That's fine. Wait for the tsunami to pass. Okay. Call them the next month. 2 to 18-month-old expires, I think, are a huge opportunity. That's what Menard was doing. That's what Charles Rosano, another testimony we just got a couple months ago, also doing that, as well as for sell by owner, right? A lot of agents
Right.
are allergic to the for sell by owners, but let me tell you this. Have your ISA, give them a call and checking in once per week. One time
Yeah.
per week, be checking in, taking their temperature, because you want to put your foot in the door if and only if they're willing to consider a plan B. Let's just hear us out. Let's hear what my agent has to say, right? I want to be working for you. I want to be helping you get your property sold. So I want to be calling to find buyers for your property. Okay. Let Menard tell you what he has to say. My agent knows what they're doing. Just a quick phone call tomorrow. I'll have them call tomorrow. Does that work? Great. You don't have to set an appointment with these folks. There's no point, right?
Yeah, that's
Have
too
your
far
agent
out.
call them whenever they can. Have their agent call them whenever they can the next day, introduce themselves and start the dialogue. That's it. That's what you need, right? But you got to be willing to have a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation with a for sale by owner. Because what are they
Yeah.
going to be knocking you about? They're going to be talking about commissions. They're going to be talking about they hate agents. They're going to be talking about all the complaints they have about the industry, about NAR. Maybe they'll bring up the lawsuit. I don't know. But you've got to be able to put that to the side and focus on what are you going to do when I sell this home for you? Focus on that. Just focus on that. Okay. And yes, some of these FSBOs are going to want a deal on that commission. Make them a deal they can't say no to. Make them a deal. Make it win-win. Both of you guys have to win, right? And get that property sold for them. But the ISA puts the foot in the door to start the conversation. That's their job. That's their job. And the same thing applies. Expired, canceled, withdrawn, for sale by owner. The ISA calls 100 of these people, talks to 15, 20, 25 of them, and finds the one, maybe two, that you should be talking to and following up with. Would you rather make 200 calls or would you rather make 2 calls, right? Which one is the preferred outcome that you want,
Well, do
right?
you have the time to do the heavy lifting? Because I know agents, they don't have the time. I like that's something that baffles me. Like you want to do a one-man team. Like when has that story ever been true? Like it's never worked out.
It's really, really hard to do.
Man, when they say Facebook leads, oh, they suck. It's not that they suck. You got to do 10 to 15 touches to get a hello. And then from there, you got to follow up another 10 to 15 times to see like, what is the plan? Or are you interested? Okay. And that's the thing. Like I see agents all the time saying, "Oh, my follow-up game is not as good as I would want it to be." What are you doing?
If they even admit that's
Yeah.
already, I mean, that person's going to win because they at least recognize they got a problem, right? Like I could be better. They're not making the calls, right? They're not. It's frustrating. It's boring. It's like mind-numbing work. I understand that. I get it. That's the work that it takes to convert some of these
Sales.
leads. That's how you get them. That's how you get them. But if you can have some leverage in making those follow-up calls and having those conversations and then handing them off to you, the more the merrier, the better. That's making the calls is the best. Having leverage to help you make even more calls is even better. Because what you got to get really good at is talking to a confirmed, verified home buyer, confirmed, verified home seller,
Yeah.
and taking them by the hand and taking them to the finish line. That is what most agents would prefer to do anyway. That's what they love to do. What kills them is the 200 calls they have to make to get that conversation going. That's where they drop the ball. That's where it happens, right? The hundreds of calls that it takes, the 15 attempts per lead that's going to take to get the conversation going, to get a response. That's what, Chris, I'm glad you put it that way. It's 15, 16 touches to get a response from these online leads, not to set an appointment, to get a response from these online leads. Start that conversation, and then you can earn the right to have a more deep conversation, and then take them by the hand and lead them where they want to go. But it's a lot of work. And for online leads, the work is only increasing. They're not getting easier. They're not getting easier, right? They still work, but it is not as easy as it was, 6 months ago, 18 months ago. It was easier. It's harder now because it's not just the work to get them to contact you, right? You got to find the most motivated ones that qualify. That's the other challenge, right? But again, that part you have no control over. The part you can control is making the calls, doing the follow-ups, and getting as many conversations started on a daily basis. That can come from circle prospect. It can come from calling your own database. It can come from calling inbound internet leads. It can come from door knocking, for all I care, right? It's having those conversations on a daily basis. If you could get your ISA to go door knock or go to open houses, that'd be great, right? But at least they can help you reach out to people that they're on the phone or via text message. They can get those conversations started for you to take over and get them handed off, okay?
That's what I'm telling agents. Like, look, I've had, like, in the last week, we've had around 10 agents sign up in the last week. And from those 10, I kid you not, they're all telling me the same thing. It's like, oh, what's the latest and greatest? There's no latest and greatest. What I've seen from all the people that I've been talking to, from some of the folks that I'm actually seeing the results happen, because I work with a lot of ISA. That's what people don't understand. I literally help and coach some of the ISAs, some of my older colleagues, because they can do the follow-ups, this and this and that. But see, what I'm really good at is like finding methods to get in contact with people, whether it be AI, whether it be text message, whatever. I don't care. It's just like, look, I'm gonna help you make the contact. What I'm seeing is just you got to make more contacts. You got to make more calls. Agents are not gonna do this. So it's like you said, if they're just gonna, sit back and wait for somebody to call them, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And not to mention, this is something that I've seen throughout all the folks that I've been talking to, ISAs and agents alike. Social, and let me make huge emphasis on this. Social media presence is a turnkey factor to help your ISA get your foot in the door. Why I say this
I
is
love
because
that.
it's true, man. No age, like there's so many agents that they have no social media presence. Like, so you literally want the ISA to book an appointment. You know myself, me, if I was a normal Joe, what would I do? So simple. I would go on Google, check you out. I mean, you're cold calling me, so I have to check you out. I'll go on YouTube. I'll go on Facebook. I'll try to see what you're about. I don't see anything. That means you're a nobody to me. Again, me being the normal Joe, because if I were to do any type of transaction, that's what I do. Even when I buy online, I'm looking for referrals. I'm looking for testimonials. So one agent, and it's the same agent that we've been talking about, has a really good social media presence. Social media presence with inbound leads, even cold calling helps like you guys
It
have
does.
no idea. No idea.
100%, because it's part of that social proof. It's part of that like recommendation system. They're not recommending it to you, but they're at least telling you there's a real person, right? And some people do trust this person. Some people do like this person, right? So maybe you should like them. Maybe you should trust them as well. I love that, man. We should have a whole separate session on what you should be doing to increase your presence and get more leads to convert. It's not just the ISA. It's
No.
not just the ads. It's not just the cold calls. It's not just the nurtures, right? All that stuff is necessary, but a little bit of sprinkling on top of social media presence, social proof, online persona, all that stuff can help you out a million percent. And there's other activities. That stuff can also be nurturing content to help nurture these leads, bring them along. I was just having a conversation earlier with someone saying that nowadays I'm recommending everyone that's doing cold calling, cold prospecting, they should have a newsletter. They should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a must. And but it's cold. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Because people have been saying this for online ads, online leads from ads, they should be put into a newsletter for sure. but cold leads as well, right? And we've had people here in the group talking about this. Jonathan Tiedman, Circle Prospect, that's all from Circle Prospecting, built an audience, newsletter, and was closing deals within 3 months from Circle, closing deals, which is super fast to get results from Circle Prospecting. And it's because he found ways to get in front of them, stay top of mind. From a list that began with one person, right? Circle Prospect, it's slow. You get one person in, 2 people in, 3 people in, 5 people in, and it just grows from there. And you got to be nurturing them a little bit. Little sprinkling of content, because that's what people buy into. It's not just the scripting. It's not just your follow-up. All that stuff is priority number one. You got to have that too, right? But if you sprinkle on top a little bit of content, some information for them, add some value, it just makes them much more likely to work with you. It's 2023. People don't want to be sold to. The consumer is very savvy now, very savvy consumer. They want the person that adds the most value. I think everything you just said, Chris, are ways you can add value for them. That's how you're adding value. You've got social proof that you are a good person to work with. I think that's super key.
Man, you're killing them with like value, and they don't even know. Like you're literally selling them without selling them, and that's what people don't understand. Like honestly, that a lot of people tell me this, and it's crazy. They're like, how do you know so much? Like, what are you doing? Are you working with an agent? Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. And the reason I say this is because look, I'm not working with an agent. Gustavo is basically my agent, but I work with a lot of other folks that, jump on their service and like, I need a little extra help. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, can you help me train my ISA a little bit? Okay, I start training their ISA. I'll probably do it for like an hour or two, maybe a Saturday or a Sunday when I have a little bit of time to spare. And when I do this, I'm looking at all the systems, all the processes, everything that they're doing. I'll tell them, look, I used to do it like this, not like this. I used to change this. I used to be a lot more text heavy here. I would do a lot more emails here. And then they start doing these things and they get the results. And it's crazy. It takes, if it's some, and again, if any company out there is promising you results in the first 30 days, run, run. Like you're
Not
not
really.
gonna get that run. Even if
Yeah,
it's inbounds,
not true.
inbounds like run. They
Even Facebook
promise.
leads,
Yeah,
average
that's
is
what I'm
going to be a
saying.
year out. The average is going to be a year out. The average Facebook lead. You'll get some that are faster for sure, but the average is going to be a year out. And if you're not in it to win it, don't even spend the money, right?
That's what I'm saying. And like these guys that I'm talking to and everything that I'm seeing, I'm like, okay, so I have a really good understanding of what some of the huge teams out there are doing to get results. And it's super simple. They're just doubling down and covering more area. That's all it is. Because back then maybe you had to talk to 200 people to get that one person, just like you said. Now you got to talk to almost double that to talk to the same amount of people to get the same amount of deals. So if you're covering more ground, it's like, what are you doing to cover more ground? Because man, this is agent. He said, I'm gonna have someone from my team do the calls. So is it like a buyer's agent? Like, is it an ISA in-house? He's like, oh, it's a buyer's agent. We're just gonna have him call this and this and that. He signed up. That's one of the people that signed up last week. He's like, yeah, I was like,
That
I'm not.
was
Again, I'm not
that
gonna say names.
we've
I'm
heard it
sorry.
before. We've
Yeah, I
heard it
had to say
before.
it.
Heard it
I had to
before.
say it though.
And,
I
and,
had
and, you
to.
know, and this is funny, but within the team, we've got some cues, right? When someone says they're going to go with a company out of the Philippines, or they're going to tell one of their agents to do it, that they're good to go. For us, it's like, okay, we'll check back in 30 days. Let's see how that went, right? Because we've seen these patterns before, right? And this is and we know the likelihood that that's going to work out is very low. The likelihood you're going to be satisfied with that solution is very, very low. And we want to check in and see how things are going. Just check in. And that's someone that, maybe people would discard those leads. Oh, that's not going to do anything. Oh, that's not going to go anywhere. Check back in and see how that goes, because we know how difficult this job is. We know how hard it is to make an impact in this industry, right? How hard it is to persist, after years and years and years, the way that we have, right? So we understand it, and we're okay with that. Pick up the phone and check in with them. Make it a follow-up. It's not the end. It's a next follow-up kind of conversation, because we're going to get them. And 9 times out of 10, we get those clients to work with us because we understand that those solutions that seem super easy and super flawless to them, we know how difficult it is to make those work, right?
I mean, just like honestly, look, and I want any of the agents that I've signed up call me out on this. I always tell them from the get-go. I want to be blunt with you. I want you to know what you're getting yourself into. The only con in our whole platform, you got to put in work. That's the only
That's
con.
it. That's
That's
it.
the only
That's the
con.
name of the game. And check out, the case study with Manar. Check out the case study with Charles. Check out the case study with all the Llewellyn, right? Check out the case study, right? We give them the great person, we give them the great systems, we give them the great scripts. If they're not paying attention, they're asleep at the wheel, they're not going to make the progress that they want, right? They're not putting in the time with their ISA. Like, I wish I could do that for them, right? Can't do it. To get the right results, you got to be involved. You got to help ramp them up. You got to help train them. It's a done with you process. It's a done with you process. It's not hands off. If you feel that all I have to do is give, Gus my credit card and my problems are solved, this is not that solution. You got to put in the work, right? That is the one flaw, well, maybe it's not a flaw. That is the one feature that I don't love about the system, that we do depend on the agent to put in the time, put in the effort, because we know if that doesn't happen, we're just not going to be successful. That's the period in the story, right? That is it. And we've seen it happen, right? But that's why we sound like a broken record where we're saying this over and over and over again, because we want you guys to win. We want you guys to win. That is why.
And I usually tell them, look, if you're thinking you're gonna put in 6 hours a day, no. It's super simple. It could be something like hour and a half a day for the first 2 to 3 weeks. Even myself, that I'm super experienced at doing
Manar
this.
Siba said the exact same thing. The most intense time is the first 2 to 3 weeks. That's it. That's the
it.
most intense time.
That's it.
Then you can take your foot off the gas a little bit, right? But the first 2 to 3 weeks, there's no excuse. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to make that time, make it happen. And again, if you want to succeed, success is not mandatory, right? Success is optional. You decide if you want to be successful or not. But you're hiring us to give you the tips, to give you the system, the process, the scripts, the role play, everything that you need to be successful. Okay. So, anyways, Chris, I mean, man, we could talk for another hour about this, but I think I want to give back your time. We started a little bit late because of the technical issues, but I appreciate people that hung out here. I saw like 10, 15 people checking us out live. I love that. Thank you for coming. We have these every Tuesday, right? At about 3 p.m. Central, normally 3 p.m. Central. So I'll see you guys here for the next one. Thank you, Chris.